Burgers, brownies, smoothies, what do they have in common? They can all be super powered with butternut squash. I'm Meghan Telpner, and we're making love in the kitchen. What does making love in the kitchen mean? It means getting a little messy, keeping it easy, and having the most fun healthy living has ever seen. Squash is a great food to eat this time of year. It's one of the few things we can get seasonally and locally. Now, when you're picking out your squash, you want to get one that's got a matte finish. If it's glossy, it means it was picked too early and won't be very sweet. You also don't want any dents or bruises, and if you store it in a cool, ventilated place, it can be good up for 3 months. Forget canned food. Do you know what this is? Do you know what this is?
I don't know.
Oh, it's heavy. It is heavy. You don't know what this is?
I have no idea what that is.
You've never seen this.
English is my third language. I will plead the fifth.
Yes?
Yeah? Do you know what it's called?
A squash.
Do you grow them in your garden?
No.
What's your first language?
Portuguese.
So how do you say squash in Portuguese?
Squash. Squash.
Squash?
Yes, please.
Do you know what kind of squash?
No, not that really.
Do you think it's a fruit or a vegetable?
I think it's vegetable.
It's a fruit. Did you know this is a fruit?
That's debatable.
No, it's a fact. So what most people don't realize is how diverse this fruit actually is, and we are going to see how far we can make this squash go. And the best way to tackle your squash is by peeling it first. Use a good metal spoon and you can easily just scoop out all the seeds from the middle. And then we have our beautiful squash all ready to grate for our Asian-inspired squash burgers. Next, we'll chop a couple stalks of celery and an onion. Grate 2 peeled carrots, 2 cloves of garlic, and about 1 inch of peeled ginger. And it's time to get cooking. So our first step will be to soften up our onions and cook it up with the garlic and ginger. So that will help bring out the flavor. Over medium heat, we'll add tamari and sesame oil to a pan. Once the pan is heated, we'll add the onions, garlic, and ginger. While the onions are softening, we'll grate up about 1 cup of our squash. Now, I hear the onions sizzling in the pan, so I think it's time that we add the rest of our veggies to that mix. We've now got a full-on party happening in this little pan here. And you just want to give it a good stir, and we can just leave that to simmer. While the veggies are cooking, let's puree the chickpeas to form the base of our burgers, and we'll put that into the mixing bowl. And to this, we will now throw in our raw squash. Our vegetables are beautifully cooked and ready, so we're just going to add this into the mix. Ooh, it smells so good. I'm hungry. A little bit of flour will bulk them up and just a pinch of sea salt for extra flavor. And we will add our kale to the mix. The best way to introduce new foods to people is to make them really delicious the first time they try it. And that's what this burger is gonna do. So we're now ready to make our patties, and the cookie cutter will make them all wonderfully uniform. So our beautiful, perfectly formed burger patties are now ready to go in the oven. So it's now time to make some real magic as we turn the remainder of our squash into the most delicious brownies you've ever had. We'll chop up the other half of our squash into small pieces and steam it over high heat. While the squash is steaming, we can make our awesome town chocolate. We'll start with 100% unsweetened cocoa chocolate and add to that our extra virgin cold pressed coconut oil and some honey. You don't want to put your chocolate on direct heat. It'll cook too high. So we like to configure a pretend double boiler. What I like to do is take a clean pot, a medium-sized pot, fill it with water, turn the stove on, and put a smaller pot inside. The water will heat up just enough to melt the goodness that's in the small pot, not enough to burn anything. So while our chocolate coconut oil honey is mixing together, we will blend together the rest of the ingredients. I like a gluten-free flour. This is a brown rice flour, but use whatever whole grain flour you have at home. We're gonna add to that applesauce. Applesauce is fantastic because it helps to reduce the amount of oil you need. We're gonna add a little bit of sucanat, which is a dehydrated cane sugar, so it's sort of the most natural sugar you can get. We'll add some fresh cocoa powder as well. So we'll put in a teaspoon or so of baking powder. The last thing is vanilla extract. It adds this natural sweetness without actually having any sugar in it. We'll grease up our pan with a little bit of coconut oil and a light dusting of our same whole grain flour. The squash is steamed, so we'll puree it in our blender and add it to the brownie mix. Finally, we get to scoop in our beautifully melted chocolate, mix our batter together, and pour this goodness into our greased pan. So what's really good about baking without eggs or anything is you really can eat the batter right from the bowl or from the spatula. So the brownies are ready to go into the oven. Let's get the burgers out. Best time of cooking when things are ready. Gonna get our burgers, ooh, they're beautiful, out of the oven. And I'm gonna show you how I like to dress my burger. Tip our burger over, if we can cut it. Oh, that looks good. That's like the best burger I've ever had. So really, how far are we gonna stretch this squash? Well, we've got a little bit left over after the brownies. Let's make a shake. I'm gonna throw in a frozen banana, fresh ground cinnamon, a pinch of clove, a little bit of honey for that sweetness, some vanilla, and then we're gonna mix in our milk. And we're just gonna blend this right up. Let's give this shake a try. This beautiful squash banana milkshake. That's good. The brownies are out of the oven. We've let them cool. Let's cut into this bit of comfort food. The best way to check if it's a good batch is to try it yourself. It's a good batch. So it's a veggie burger.
Yeah?
And we use squash in it.
Well, I gotta get a Canadian woman though to get that.
Yeah! Do you want to try it?
This brownie just came out of nowhere. You better not have no THC up in this brownie, sir.
A squash. How's that? What's that? Thumbs up.
Oh, that's really good.
Good brownie, man.
Good, thank you.
Good brownie.
You're a man of few words when there's brownies around, huh?
I'd really like another brownie. They taste great.
Once more, what can you say? Good things come when you're making love in the kitchen.